Greetings, my antique and vintage Christmas lighting friends. This is Scott, your Christmas lighting helper friend. I'm here today to discuss something that has long needed some help, and I thought I would try to do a quick video, even though most of my videos now are turning out to be over an hour long for each one. I'm going to try to do something somewhat quick. I'm going to try to do editing to take out any boring parts, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm doing this video on something that may be elusive to a lot of people, and they don't really see them that often. Last weekend, I picked up this, which is a Dresden light cover. It's a Noma Dresden light cover, as you see the box back here. This is the original box, or one of the original boxes that these came in. These pieces were, I believe, also probably sold individually. Here, let me move that out of the way for a minute. This is the inside of that box set. It came with several different types. You've got a basket of fruit. You've got like a long paradise flower or tulip flower. That one has a big old chunk of glass out of it. Finding these in excellent shape anymore is really getting hard. This yellow is in pretty good condition. There's grapes. Up here is a very rare one, which one is this one? I believe this is the dog. They made a dog and a cat, and they both look sort of similar. Here's the doll head that you often see. You see a lot of the doll head for some reason. And so you're probably wondering, well, what in the world are these things? Well, what I'll do is, these were released in about, I'm just going to give a rough estimate, 1930. Maybe 1929, right at the height of the Great Depression. And it was a rather expensive set. And so even the individuals were pretty expensive. This was Noma's answer to doing a figural light bulb that you could, change the light bulb out in. So these caps were meant to screw out, okay, of the figural top, and then you could put in a light bulb inside of it. Now, granted, you probably wouldn't want to put blue inside of a girl's head, but I'm just using this as an example. And if you see, it's threaded right along here. There. You can see the threading right along here. And then inside of here, you can see that the inside of this ring is threaded. So then this cap would essentially screw right on in. It's hard sometimes to catch it. And then see it screws in. All right, now, there was a couple, or one or two, possibly inherent problems with these. We're not exactly sure. I'm not 100% sure. I've heard so many different theories as to why we get them, and they look like this on the top. If you look, you can see how corroded this is. And it essentially corroded this cap onto this ring, because that's two pieces of metal. What I've heard is that they were opposing pieces of metal. Don't ask me. One might have been brass, one might have been tin or something, that for some reason, when they stay in contact with each other over a period of time, they will corrode. There's also another theory, is that when they did these, if you see they have like a gold tone on them, it could have been brass or tin with a gold tone, and that out of the factory, they were lacquered to stay shiny and pretty looking, and that when they were together with their topper on them like this, and left like sitting in a box, or worse yet, used on a Christmas tree where it would heat up, okay, that the lacquer on this and the lacquer on this would fuse together and sort of melt together, and all of a sudden you now have this cap glued into this top. And this is a real problem with these, because if you buy these, yeah, I guess they're pretty decorations, but you know, us lighting dweebs, we want to use our stuff. We want to see it lit. So now, granted, I know this one's a mess. So are all my other ones. These are my lower end ones that are in this box. I have better ones around. but I've also heard of people who have, I believe, done an excellent job of repainting these. It's rumored that possibly Cindy Chips used to repaint them, and I think I bought a dog from her, and it was outstanding. It was quite beautiful. It's one of my favorite Dresden pieces. These are called Dresden. I'm not 100% sure why the word Dresden was applied. I think it was used in the old Noma advertising as a Dresden light cover. Um, and that's probably because this part here, the glass part, and probably with the ring on it, was made in Germany. And if you read somewhere, if you look along the edge of this ring here, if you look very carefully with a loop or something, you'll read it. It says something reflector with a K in the word reflector. And I believe it might even say Germany on it. So these parts were made in Germany, okay? So anyway, so you see this on eBay and you want to buy it, and you're like, well, boy, I'd love to own one of those, but I wonder if I can get it apart. That's the problem. When you commit to buying one of these, especially when you're buying it on a site like eBay, you can bet the seller is not going to take the time to take that top off. They are not going to work on it. They're not going to do anything. They just want you to buy it. They want you to pay a huge amount of money and be real stupid about it. So you've got to make up your mind how stupid you want to be, how committed you'll be to getting this thing off of here. So that's kind of what this video is about, is to kind of give you a feeling for maybe you can try to get these apart. Some people just like to buy them and have a real pretty box set, like my box set over here, and they just put it on display because let's face it, that artwork on that box is outstanding. That was one of the first years that Noma used that beautiful Art Deco box art, so it's really quite stunning. Anyway, all right, and by the way, that is my favorite box by Noma. I love it. All right, so I'm going to also give you another little tip, okay? Another way, as you can see, all of this paint is just coming off of my fingers as we speak. It's ending up everywhere. So when you work with these, you kind of want to try to take away that issue. Here, they kind of wrap this thing in a piece of tissue paper. So you may want to try to handle it with something that will hopefully not allow for that. You could probably, wrap it with a little something like that. Let me see if I can get a little rubber band or something to put around it. And hopefully this will kind of help keep it from your man hands ripping off all that paint. Okay, so there, I would strongly suggest this. You could use a clear plastic bag, like a little sandwich bag or something, not one with a Ziploc, but one just like a plain bag, okay, with no zippy on it. Anyway, so here I've got it held. One of the things I like to do to get started with these is to use my Dremel. I love my Dremel. I use it for everything. You can see how dirty it is. Okay, and you use I use a steel wire brush right there. You can see it. This one came in a double pack with this weird one that's shaped kind of like a funnel. I don't know what you would use that one for right there, but this is the one I like to use. It's funny because the only ones most of the stores I go to ever have are these and not these. I don't know why. Maybe one of the reasons why is because these tend to lose wires and they fly as they're going around in a circle. A lot of times I'll end up having my jacket or my shirt just filled with wires after I've used this. So I strongly suggest when you use a Dremel to wear a pair of goggles for safety, okay? And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to clean off as much of this stuff as possible. So here we go. We're going to use this wire brush, and we're gonna go around and try to get as much of this stuff off. What you're really trying to pay attention to is the split between the original ring, the outer ring, and the lip on the inside. Being careful not to let this slip and go down the way I'm letting it do. because it's hard for me to do this out of the side of a piece of glass while I'm filming. But you want to try to get it so that a lot of that stuff is all cleaned off and you're starting to get a little shine on it. The more that you can remove from that upper lip, the better off you're going to be. Because after this, we're going to try to put some WD-40 on it. Everybody's got their favorite form of lubricant, or stuff that will help you soak into something and lubricate. There's Blast, PB Blaster, I believe. There's WD-40. Liquid Wrench is another one that a lot of people use. So you use whatever your favorite is. I don't think in this case it's really going to matter. But as you can see, I've kind of shined that up quite a bit. And I've sort of gotten it so that you can kind of see the separation above my fingernail here, between this outer ring and now that inner cap. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is, I just normally take an X-Acto blade, and what I do is I try to dip it into and get a puddle of WD-40 or whatever lubricant. I've also used that PB Blaster too. And then you take it and you carefully just sort of place it so that it kind of soaks and goes down and into that separation. Okay, and you may have to do this several times. This is, some people say it doesn't need it, some people say it does. I say a little lubrication will never hurt anybody. And so you want to get it on there and get as much of it as you can. I'm trying to go all the way around. So I'm putting the point of the blade down into the crack between the two. And when you do it, you can kind of watch. Unfortunately, I didn't show you on the video. But it kind of just soaks its own self in. Remember, the more of a puddle you leave on your point, the more you'll deliver to this thing, and it'll go down in. Now, I've recently heard from a friend who loves these things and has been trying to perfect a way to get them out. He said, now I'm going to do his trick for this video, okay, and we're going to see if it works. He said that what he does is he takes the point of his blade and he wedges it down into here, and he starts wiggling back and forth. Now you have to be careful because you've got a thin piece of glass in your hands. These glass Dresdens are really thin, so you gotta always try to hold it by the ring. Okay, don't try to keep gripping it by the glass. And he says he tries to find a place where he can catch a hold in it. Okay. And then he tries to just pry it inward a little bit like this, okay? I'm actually not getting a good hold on this at all. I was hoping I could get it so that it actually gets stuck down into that slit, but it really doesn't seem to want to. There feels like a good slit. Okay, now, you can also take this and scrape it around so that hopefully that will help clear out any gunk as well. Here, let me wipe my blade off a little bit. All right. There's several other little tricks I'll tell you as well. I don't think his trick is going to work for me. I think maybe this lid was too far in and it's not allowing me to get a good hold in there. So what you would do is you would pry it, and he said you do it. Oh, see, this is stuck in there. And he said, and then you work around it and you continue to pry it. And he said, you'll hear a pop. And I don't know if I just heard a pop there or not, but you'll hear sort of, he said, like a crack or a pop where I guess this stuff is actually finally broken free. So let's just see how it's kind of sliding down in there now. It's hard to see because I don't have a lot of light. Here, hold on. Let me see if I can give you guys some light. Here, let's try this. A little bit of more light on the situation. Okay, there. All right, there. That might work. So again, we're going down in there, and now it seemed like I was going in before. All right, so again, this is not an exact science, but you can see I am getting down in there. And he said you just keep doing it and going around until you hear that crack. Unfortunately, I'm not paying attention and I'm over talking the crack, so it could have already cracked. Now, the next thing I like to use to help undo them is to use a pair of, these are called jeweler's pliers. They've got really strong pointy points. And as you can see, these caps have holes in them. So what you would do is you would put one in one hole and one in the opposing hole. And don't go screwing it. Not right away. You gotta hold it by the ring. You can't hold it by the glass. And you just try to wiggle it back and forth to see if it's going to give any. And look, there it goes. It gave up, and out it comes. And this piece is out. And now I've got the lid out. And now that the lid is out, okay. Now, I want you to know, folks, I did not prep this. This one, I got lucky. I will tell you, I got lucky. It takes forever sometimes to get these things out. So don't think that was, oh, quick and easy, I could do that. It's not always that easy. As you can see, look up inside of this. You see how it's all corroded? That corrosion, we're thinking it's just on the outside. No, that stuff's all the way on the inside. So once you're done, and if and when you do get the cap out, okay, then what you could do is you can take your wire brush now and clean this entire bad boy up, okay? And get all of that corrosion off, okay? So it's going to take a while and a lot of times you'll find that, especially on the threaded part, you're going to go a little bit too far taking the corrosion off, and you might start going through the metal, so you might want to stop at that point. Anyway, so here we are, we're going around, and we'll try to get as much of that off as possible. And you can see the gold has come off, and it's now left with sort of just a gray color metal. All right, once this is done, then you do the ring on the inside, because you especially want to get all those teeth uncorroded, okay? All right, so here, let's try to do a quick part of the video on this. And you got to be very careful not to let that wire wheel go in and hit that glass like I'm doing right now. I didn't pay a lot of money for this. I found it last weekend in an antique shop, and I thought, what a great thing I could use to make a video with, so I bought it. So you go and you go around and you get all of that corrosion off. A lot of people like to use a steel wool. That's fine. You can use steel wool. You can use several different grades if you want. I just really prefer my Dremel with the wire wheel on it, because I find that when you really put some power into it, it really gets it clean and shiny. Unfortunately, I don't know, I guess my flashlight's dying and the light is dying here. But as you can see, I've got it done. I've got it pretty done anyway, because we don't want this video to be 2 hours long. So there it is. Okay, hold on a minute. The last thing you want to do, once you've gotten and done all this trouble, okay, and I'm telling you, this can take days, weeks of soaking it with WD-40. I'm telling you, it's a miserable procedure. Okay, you want to take some motor oil, or just like some lightweight oil. Clock oil would work. 3-in-1 oil, whatever, just some kind of household oil. A sewing machine oil would work. And you want to oil all of the inside of that ring and then the outer cap. That will hopefully prevent this from ever happening again, because it'll have a little layer of sort of a barrier of oil on it to keep that stuff from corroding together. So see how I'm applying, you're not filling it with a boatload of oil. You're just putting a nice little light layer on it. And then we'll see, will it go in? Yeah, let's see. And then it should, at this point now, screw in a lot nicer than it did originally. Yeah, there it is. See, and now it catches and it goes in. The other next two suggestions I'm going to give you are for long-term maintenance if you ever intend on using these on a regular on your Christmas tree, is to never store them with the cap in. Always take the cap out before storing. When I pulled this young lady out, she did have the cap out, but I put it in for the video, and now it's out again because I've learned keep the caps out. Okay, so here we go, and it just screws right in. I don't know if this light bulb works. Let's find out. Because I never tested this to see if it worked. It does work. But what you'll find too is that these often will these light bulbs will easily work their way loose over years of storage. I bought a mint condition doll head like the one in the box here, and the people in the eBay description said there's a rattling inside of it. And when they mailed it, the post office just throwing the box everywhere, the light bulb was loose on the inside, came out, hit the inside of the glass, and poked a hole right in the girl's forehead. So, yeah, that was a real pain. Anyway, so I know how when I end a video, you guys just love to see the lit product. So here we go. We're gonna see. I don't have that fed in right. When you put these in, another thing you have to do is make sure you thread them in correctly, because if they're not threaded correctly, they'll get stuck, and you'll never get them. You'll never get them apart again, because that's another way these were often stored. Uh-oh. 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 I'm not sure. Anyway, that here, where did that blue light bulb get to? Because I know the blue light bulb worked in this set. Here, let's see. So maybe that light bulb has a worn out thing in it. I don't know. Another suggestion I'm going to make to you is people think, oh, when I'm trying to remove this cap out, I don't need those jeweler's pliers. I don't need those. I could just use something like needle nosers and grab the socket and spin. Okay, that's what people think. What people don't realize is that this socket part is actually free spinning in this vented part, this like vented part of the cap. And so eventually you're going to try to do this, and this part's just going to break free and keep spinning. So you need to find a way when you're unloosening this to get down into those vent holes as best you can, like that, and then it'll spin out. Anyway, what a shame this isn't going to light for you. Oh well. I don't know. This looks like an old possible. No, I don't know if that's carbon or not. Here, let me try another light bulb in here and just see. This might not have enough lead on the bottom because it's really flat to go into this socket. So let's just see. You know what? Instead of me handling that stupid thing too much, let me just go like this. Yeah, see, that's the problem. This doesn't have enough solder on the bottom. I'm going to pause for 1 second, and I'll be right. All right, so we're back. All right, another part of the learning video here is how to take and add a solder blob on, even though I've already done this. You use your soldering iron, you put some solder on, and then you touch it on the bottom of this light bulb like this, and you add a bigger solder blob on, which it doesn't appear that I even got a blob on here. You got to try to get a big blob of solder on your tip, and you sort of hold it on there. Yeah, that's not going to work. Anyway, look, guys, the video's got to come to an end. Let me see if I can find a way to do this, and I'll get right back. And I finally got a blob of solder to stay on, and eventually you'll be able to light your ugly basket of fruit with all of the paint on. As you can see, it just screwed right on. All right, there's one other little tip that I did not show you. Also, when they're frozen together like this, another trick you can try is to put the clean it off, put the WD-40 down into the crack. Remember, you can't let the WD-40 run down on the outside and start getting all over the glass and the paint, because it might ruin the paint. So you got to be careful. Not that it matters with this, because this one's, the paint's just a mess. But you can then, in the case of the two lacquers having sealed together, you could take your point of your soldering gun and just go around in circles for quite a while, getting it good and hot. I've done this before, and guess what? It unfroze it so fast it wasn't funny. So you could do this, and what that's doing is that's heating up the inner cap, and eventually it's transferring into the ring. And if there was lacquer holding it together, that too would allow it to unseize, hopefully enough that you can get it out. All you have to do is get it out, okay? All right, and then eventually you could just screw it out and boom, 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 all right? And then you clean it up, yeah, and you put the oil on it and everything else. So that's pretty much it. Wow, I spilled WD-40 all over the counter here. Okay, and then let's see, there was one other little tip about doing these that I was going to tell you. Okay, all right, and the final tip. If you get one that is so stubborn it won't come apart, I'm not sure what they used to glue this on, okay? I'm not sure. Sometimes you'll see white like plaster, and I think maybe they did plaster them on. The Germans often used plaster as sort of a glue or a sealant, especially since I work with dolls, antique bisque dolls. They used a lot of plaster for glue and stuff. So in the production of dolls. Anyway, one thing I have done also, okay, and I don't know if, did I just feel it? Okay, is you can try to, like, I'm a diabetic, so I have insulin needles on hand all the time. I'll get a needle and soak up really hot water and then carefully hold this upside down and fill this little gully down in here with hot water, and then I just let it sit like that. Okay, and I'll come back an hour later. Every time I walk into the kitchen, I'll get more hot water, shoot down in there, okay, and keep shooting. And a lot of times that will loosen up whatever they use to glue this, and then you can remove this entire ring and then do your work of getting that cap off, all right? Because then you just have a ring and a cap, and it allows you to be able to grip that ring a lot better, and you can really get some torque on it then to get it off. Okay, so that's it. That's pretty much it. Video's over. Again, Noma Dresden light figures. See, we got it. It's lit again with all the paint just flaking off left and right. This paint had about 30% more paint on it, this thing, when I first bought it. So pretty soon it's going to be empty. If anybody who's watching this video feels confident that they could do this kind of a job of spray painting these, like with an air gun, please let me know, because I would love to get you to do a whole bunch for me. I have bunches and bunches, as you can see. Look, this fruit is really bad too. And you notice how I have this stored. I have it stored so that it's already out. Look, that's a beautiful detector lamp. Anyway, so there you are. I have it stored with the cap out. Do not leave the caps in. Anyway, enjoy your Christmas lighting. Have fun. Contact me if you need any help. Just go down into the comments. Also, if you're a major Christmas light dweeb like I am, or you think you are, feel free to join my Facebook group. It's called Collectors of Antique, Vintage, and Modern Christmas Lights. We incorporate everybody, and we have fun. We talk a lot of dweeby stuff, and we also just have fun showing off fun stuff too. So come on in and come visit our group, and we hope to see you there. If you have a question in particular about this video, you can always reach out to me in the comment section, okay? Anyway, take care and enjoy your lights.